You may have seen the kickoff of Pink on the football field. We discussed the important message of breast cancer awareness with the Garden State chapter of the National Association of Hispanic Nurses, and we discussed the formula of success of a local pharmacist who is catering to the Hispanic community. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. If you are a football fan like I am, you may have noticed the display of pink on the field. Behind that is a very serious message as part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We now go to Talia Thomas from the National Association of Hispanic Nurses, the Garden State chapter, to discuss this very important health topic. Talia, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you for having me.
So we see it every Sunday during the month of October, wearing a pink to bring home the message of cancer awareness. It's a very serious problem. Let's drill down a little bit on the numbers and tell me how serious the problem is.
Sure. Well, the American Cancer Society has already put out their statistics for 2016. They have new estimates, and also they have statistics on the number of deaths for this year. Currently, right now, it is estimated that 246,660 new cases just for this year in breast cancer for newly diagnosed women. Out of that statistic, we have 7,420 of new cases just for New Jersey. In addition, they do estimate that 40,450 women will die this year of breast cancer, and that includes 1,280 in New Jersey.
Wow, that's very alarming numbers.
Yes, it is, Bert.
But the good news is that the numbers are a lot less than what they used to be. Is that correct? In terms of the survival rate?
Yes. In terms of survival rate, we have 89.7 survival rate, which is wonderful, in the 90th percentile after 5 years. They did a study and they saw that the incidence of breast cancer-related deaths are going down since 2000, and that is contributed to the key factors of early detection, awareness, and screening.
Certainly, even the numbers that we said, that potential deaths that are going to take place this year, that number is still too high.
Yes.
And there's a lot of awareness that we need to bring to the community so they're aware of what they need to do to lower their risk.
Yes. That includes having a self-breast exam, knowing your body. The key factor is early detection. If you see something abnormal, check it out with your primary care physician right away. Early detection is the key to survival and early treatment.
Let's get a little in-depth in terms of what is breast cancer.
So breast cancer actually are cells. So we have breast cells, and what happens is that these cells in the breast begin to basically grow out of control. They start to have abnormal growth. So these cells, they become tumors. And what happens is that you can have a malignant tumor or a benign tumor. When the tumor becomes malignant, that's what we call cancer. And what happens is those breast cells grow into the surrounding tissue.
So let's talk a little bit about the signs or the symptoms so that if you have these symptoms, you should get help right away.
Yes. So the most prominent sign, if you're doing your annual and monthly breast exam, is a lump. But sometimes lumps aren't being felt, so you definitely would notice swelling of the breast or even part of the breast. even if you don't feel a lump. A lot of the times you'll have nipple discharge, inverted nipples, and sometimes you'll even have redness and scaling of the breast.
Obviously, if you see any of this, you need to go to the doctor right away.
Yes, early intervention and early detection will increase your survival rate and actually start a treatment plan. But to decrease your anxiety of what you're seeing, because sometimes we psych ourselves out thinking we see something and knowing something and we delay our treatment, definitely check out if you notice something abnormal about your breast.
Let's talk about some of the risk factors and very alarming numbers, particularly for minorities and African Americans. Tell me about the risk factors.
Well, the number one risk factor, which is the main risk factor, being a woman. All women, regardless of age, are at risk. But we know that age does play a factor. Mostly women who are 55 and older are the ones getting diagnosed. Also, genetics play a part. Statistically, we have found that 10 to 15% of breast cancer related deaths or new diagnoses of breast cancer have to do with the genes. And lastly, race is a factor. Many people feel that with breast cancer, we are seeing an increased incidence with African American women. And although it's typical to see 55 and older women being diagnosed with breast cancer, within this specific race, it is actually being diagnosed under age 45.
And we see that Asian, Hispanics, and Native American women have a lower risk of developing and dying from breast cancer.
That is correct. Even though the risk is lower, remember the other risk factors are still a part. So if you're a woman, regardless of any race, that's your number one risk factor. If you're an Asian, Native American, or Hispanic woman that has a family history, that increases your risk.
You have to get regular physicals, correct?
That is correct.
See a problem, you need to go to the doctor right away.
Yes, go to the doctor right away. Again, the key is early detection, early screenings to lead to early interventions.
We know women are primarily the caregiver at the home. They usually take care of themselves last. So what we're saying is take care of yourself and make sure that you get regular checkups and certainly if you see any problems, go to the doctor.
That is exactly right.
Great message, thank you. And we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with my next guest right here on Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. My next guest has been recognized many times for his business leadership and as a role model for other Hispanics. Most recently, he was recognized by the Puerto Rican Action Committee of South Jersey at their annual gala. Joining me is Hernando Perez. He is the owner and operator of Hernando's hometown pharmacy. Hernando, welcome to Latino Motion.
Bert, thanks for having me on. Thanks again.
It's a pleasure, and I was at the award ceremony not too long ago where you were recognized for all the contributions you do in the community as a business leader. One of the things we want to talk about is the pharmacy and how you got started in business.
Well, obviously, you got to go through school and get your 6-year pharmacy degree. That's how it started. My mother inspired us to go to college. We're all college graduates, and then you go along, you learn some of the business, you work hard, save money, invest, and I got inspired by a friend of mine in Cherry Hill to become a businessman.
Yeah, most pharmacists, they don't necessarily want to be a business for themselves, which it's hard to get started to begin with. So tell me a little bit about how you got started there in Vineland.
Well, I know there was a need in the Hispanic community, especially. We have about 43% Hispanic, and there was never a Hispanic pharmacy in South Jersey, so I saw a market for that. And just working hard through, again, saving your money, paying off your bills, and going through the motions of all the legalities, and you could open up.
One of the things that I find interesting about your pharmacy that kind of went away with doctor's home visit is that you actually deliver and you even do home consultations. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a full-service pharmacy. We do the unit dosing, which is the layman's term for blister packs. We do free home consultations. We'll go to a person's home and explain to them all about their medications. We also do specialty type meds that need to be specialty made. We basically do everything. Everyone in our staff speaks Spanish, but it's a diversified clientele that we have, completely diversified, so we're proud of that.
And I know your wife is also part of the business as well.
Yeah, she's a registered nurse, so she helps with all the wound care. She'll make assessments for people when they come into the store. She's been, of course, a phenomenal asset and keeps everything straight and neat, and she's been great.
Well, just like all small businesses, particularly Latino businesses, they add to the economy, and you also have employees. How many employees do you have?
We've been proud to have created 15 jobs, and actually today we just hired somebody else, so the need has been there. So it started off with just myself, and then my wife came on board, and like I said, we've been proud of being created 15 jobs. It's a terrific thing.
Let's talk about some of the meds and some of the care that you give to make sure that people are safe, they're getting the right medication. And let's talk about drug interaction. What do you do to help prevent that?
Well, what I do help, I encourage patients to definitely patronize one pharmacy. Don't go to polypharmacy or multiple pharmacies. If you're going to 3 pharmacies, 3 different medicines that either interact or are the same at my store, it's going to be very difficult for us to catch. I encourage people to stay with one doctor, one pharmacy, in order to facilitate that for us. It'll make it a lot easier.
You're able to see if the prescription that they had previously is going to react to this new medication,
if it
right?
either overlaps or their doses are different, or they're the same type of medicine, or the doses are too high, then, like I said, if they're with one place, it's much easier to catch that, of course.
Now, what are some of the main obstacles to making sure that Latinos have the proper medication?
Well, one of the barriers sometimes is cost, but most people qualify for Medicare, Medicaid. We also offer the best prices in town, better than the big chain stores, best pricing guaranteed. Some of the other barriers are language. We're fully accommodating. Our staff is fully bilingual.
Very important to have the bilingual biculture. You understand some of the home remedies and so forth that I'm sure you're seeing some of that in play as well.
Yes, we carry a lot of those products that come from South America, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. We carry them at the store.
All right, let's talk about insurance. And obviously not everyone could afford medication. You said many people do qualify for some sort of assistance, but medications are relatively pretty expensive. What are some of the things we should keep in mind in terms of making sure you're able to afford medication?
Yeah, the average prescription today is running $70 to $80, but some are greatly higher. Some are less than that. Some of the things that we try to do is give people a good price or educate people to the available programs out there to help them facilitate getting the medications.
Let's talk about some of there's a couple of programs. Tell me about some of those programs.
Well, there's a number of programs for adults. There's the adult Medicaid, the adult welfare that they call it. Of course, there is Medicaid for women with children or families with children. For adults that are either physically disabled or aged, there is a program through the state called PAAD, and that's income-based, but most people qualify.
So we're going to talk a little bit about those programs. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. We'll continue our discussion with Hernando Perez. He is the owner-operator of Hernando Hometown Pharmacy. And Hernando, we were talking about insurance, and you mentioned the Part D, and also there's the PAD program. Tell me a little more about those programs.
Yeah, many people have the Medicare Part D as part of their Medicare coverage for prescription drugs. What a lot of people aren't aware of is that they also qualify for, in New Jersey, PAAD, which stands for Pharmacy Assistance for the Aged and Disabled. And a lot of people aren't aware that eligible for that, that picks up a lot of their copays, especially when they get past the donut hole in the Medicare. They just have to be aware of the income eligibility, and we educate a lot of people on that.
And for a family, it's $26,000 for
Typically, for a married couple, it's about $26,000 a year. For a single person, about $23,000. Now, there's also another one with upper income levels of about $10,000 each. For about $35,000, it's called the PAAD Gold, and what that does, it covers about 50% of the copays.
Okay, so that's a
So
big
that's
help, particularly if
still
you're relying on the medication.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't aware that they're eligible for these programs, and all you have to do is apply. They're just income-based. You can still own a home and still qualify. It's just income-based. You can have $1 million in the bank per se. It's just whatever the income is shows on the tax
It doesn't
return.
matter if you own a home. you
Correct.
still qualify.
Owning a home does not disqualify you from that. That's a misnomer.
Now, I want to talk to you about some of the activities you do in the community, and I know you're pretty active in the community, and you have an event coming up on November the 18th. You want to tell us a little bit about that event?
Yeah, that event is being partnered up with PROC of South Jersey. It's going to be November 18th. It's going to be a breast cancer screening, absolutely free. It's going to be at the pharmacy. That is going to be on a Friday, and it should be a great event. We've done blood pressure screenings, we've done blood sugar screenings, and those things we currently do each and every day at the pharmacy as well. We've done all that kind of stuff to educate the public.
Yeah, and I know you also involve even educating the home caregivers. You also provide assistance or education to them as well.
Yeah, there's about 75 million caregivers in this country, and that's defined as someone who's either taking care of a child or an elderly parent. There's about 75 million of those people. We help those folks by educating them, going to their homes to give free consultation, and also just by doing a delivery service, that person doesn't have to leave work early, and we help facilitate that. They don't have to leave work early. We try to break some of the barriers with their parents. If they're older, they're Hispanic, they don't know any English, we take care of all that stuff. So there's not this three-way translation, and we just help facilitate.
You're also involved with the Wounded Warrior program?
Yeah, we donate. If you're blessed in a business or in anything, you try to be a blessing with other people. We donate to breast cancer monthly, to World Health Organization, the Wounded Warrior program, SPCA. We have an affinity to all those kind of things, just to spread your blessings, spread their wealth, spread the blessings.
It's a great thing to be able to give back to the community. Let's talk a little bit about the career of pharmacy. That is a very good career, and certainly one that maybe some of our audience might want to look into that opportunity. What is required to become a pharmacist?
You have to go to college for 6 years. It's a rigorous program, but it's a very rewarding career. You can do research, you can work at retail, you can work at hospitals, you can be a drug rep. It's a 6-year program. It's not easy, but a lot of people do it. There's very few Latinos that go into the field. Most of them go into law, or they'll go into dental or medical, or they'll go into education, but very few Hispanic pharmacists, especially in South Jersey.
So there's a need.
There's a gigantic need. I'm actually looking for more help. I can't clone myself. I haven't figured that one out yet.
One of the things that we often hear on the news is abuse of prescription medication. What is some of the advice you give to folks, and particularly maybe parents who have teenagers or children, about safeguarding their medication?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that's basically an epidemic in the country. We try to monitor. I try to encourage patients to count their medication, get a lockbox. We don't hold the medications at the store, but we try to just encourage people to safeguard their meds.
It's a big problem throughout the country, and certainly a good message to send to parents to be mindful that your prescription could end up in the hands of your teenagers or even their friends.
Yeah, best way to dispose of medication is to just grind it up and put it in coffee grounds, or in a lot of police stations, they have drop-off stations, drop-off facilities for that.
So your business is located where?
741 East Landis Avenue. in Vineland, New Jersey, 08360. We've been there for 4 years, over 4 years.
Oh, 4 years, I'm sure soon you're looking to expand.
Yeah, but possibly, it's possible. I've been a pharmacist 23 years now, and it's been a great career. It was time to take it to the next level, become a business owner, because not only do you have more impact economically for yourself, but we've created the 15 jobs, and we're able to impact in the community a lot greater. That's what we're very proud of.
I wish you continued success doing a great job there in Vineland. And thank you for joining us here on Latino Motion.
Thanks for your time.
And thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.